You're listening to season 14 of the Virtual Tailgate, a media bullcrap production covering college football in the Atlantic Coast Conference. My name's David, and I am the greatest podcaster on this show. I say that humbly, and I say that confidently. I'm here this week alongside Geoff.
Well, there's a few things I've learned in life. Don't drink downstream of your horse. Obviously, David has now strapped on the greatest Italian leather boots known to man, Taco's work boots, looking confident, feeling taller. And the last thing is that whatever this next podcaster is about to say, you should completely ignore.
Speaking of, Jared is here with us as well.
The following parody service announcement is from the Virtual Tailgate.
You were forewarned.
You're the fantasy football commissioner, and it seems things are going pretty smoothly. But then you get a team in your league requesting you change the rules by letting that person substitute an injured player during their matchup with their opponent.
Oh, hold on. This sounds familiar.
Easy. Tell that person that this is fantasy football and that they should take into account that injuries happen and that you don't have time to play fantasy football god. Also, it's not your fault that the person's star fantasy player decided to take a head nap after not learning to brace for a tackle. And if the team still complains about your decision, tell that piece of crud that you'll be referring him to a doctor for a prescription for a pair of testicles, because somewhere he lost his while running around a mud hole in the middle of nowhere. And you'll feel good about it. The more you know.
Jeez. All right. Andrew is away on assignment this week. He's
R.I.P.
He has stormed the ACC offices trying to figure out what in tarnation Miami has promised the officials there. If you want to be the first to find out what he discovers, be sure to join the tailgate on Facebook at Virtual Tailgate or email us at virtualtailgate@mediabullcrap.com.
Also, we're accepting any sort of inside tips or information on this, or make stuff up. We really don't care.
Honestly, if anyone's seen Andrew anywhere, we'd like to hear about it.
Yeah.
If there's a sighting, shoot us an email.
or just shoot us at this point. We really don't care.
All right. My comment still stands. Just don't listen to the man. So while Andrew will be giving us probably a 60 to 90 minute debrief on this very podcast next week, live for what he found out at the ACC offices, the rest of us have game balls to hand out this week because there was some good action this week. The ACC, it's never imitated, but or often whatever the heck it is, but whatever it is, it's what it's what
I said smooth.
It's smooth.
I mean, your transition was just flawless. I mean, I thought
it really, it's really becoming one of those nights. This show is definitely headed for one of the pits of our performances here. But there was some good football going on this week. Some exciting games. Whether you watch the early games, the late games, or the early Sunday morning games, there was some good football going on. Jared, why don't you lead us off with your player of the week?
Well, my game ball goes to a player that ended his game around 3:00 because he's a human being, or was it maybe 6:00? Either way, Pitt quarterback Eli Holstein, the freshman QB. Pitt's got their first 5-0 start since 1991 after the win against North Carolina. 457 total yards of offense from this young man, including 381 of those in the air. Something that I don't think Dan Marino has ever really done as a freshman. 4 total touchdowns, 76 yards on the ground running in a touchdown through 10 carries. And he has 4 300-yard passing games this season as a freshman. Only ties him, though. Someone did do this before him at Pitt. Alex Van Pelt in 1989.
The more you know.
The more you know.
All right, well, I mentioned Saturday games. I even mentioned games that happened to end Sunday, early Sunday morning for those of us on the East Coast. But David, there was actually some exciting action on Friday night. There's quite a weekend of ACC football here.
There was, and I think the most impressive performance of the weekend was turned in on Friday night. It was running back LeQuint Allen for Syracuse. He was banged up. He was only playing kind of sporadically, not playing every snap on Friday night, but he was in there long enough to rack up 4 touchdowns, 2 through the air, 2 on the ground, as Syracuse upset undefeated UNLV on the road, smashed their playoff hopes, kept their own hopes, as distant as they may be, alive. The Orange are the real deal. They're a fun team to watch. They kind of play this reckless style. They turn the ball over. Everything's dramatic and exciting. But LeQuint Allen was really the heartbeat of that team on Friday night, led them to a very impressive win. So game ball, LeQuint Allen, Syracuse tailback.
Yeah, very good, David. I think maybe the theme, a hidden theme that wasn't called out, is our game balls this week are perhaps game balls belonging to teams that how real of a deal they are is it can be debated, but all teams that are exceeding expectations, I think, of their collective fan bases by far. Pitt with what they're doing at 5-0, Syracuse and what Kyle McCord and Fran Brown have done up there so far, and this UVA Cavalier team coming in at 4-1 through 5 games. I think a lot of people thought they were going to struggle to get to 4 wins on the season. We're not even halfway through, and they've hit that mark with a couple of good wins so far. And my game ball this week is going to safety Jonas Sanker. Had a 40-yard TD fumble return against BC when BC was only down 3 and was on the UVA side of the field. Ended up flipping that field and taking it in for a touchdown that helped UVA secure the win. A game in which was not a pretty first half. We're down, I believe it was 14-3 at halftime. Ended up winning the game 24-14. So the defense really stepped up, pitched a shutout in the second half. But a good come from behind win, maybe not pretty on all fronts, but a solid play from the safety on the fumble return and taking it all the way to the house, and a good start to the season for the Cavaliers. I think we got some solid teams here that have really shocked us all as we were nearing the midpoint of this ACC season.
So is Tony Elliott still a football terrorist?
Might be coach of the year.
Oof. Heard it here first, folks. Only on the ACC Virtual Tailgate. Now it's time to power rankings. Now, usually we have some sort of fun sound effects here after we finish through this bit, and we all have a good chuckle. But you will find out later as this podcast proceeds who the true sound person is. I'll give you a hint. It's the person that's not with us tonight. He's with us in power, though. May he rest in power, King. We'll miss you, Andrew. All right, number 1, we have Miami in our power rankings for week 6. Week 6 of the Virtual Tailgate power rankings. We have Miami at number 1. I don't know how many spots they moved up or down because I don't have that information in front of me. Andrew generates that for us. I don't know. All I know is that they're 5-0 and 1-0 in the conference somehow, which I don't think that's correct either. They're 2-0. They won 2 games now in the conference. We can't rely on any of this.
No, none of it's been updated. You know that.
Well, then, all right, fine. Number 2. This is going to be a quick power rankings.
Are you even looking at the proper teams?
Here we go.
I thought you knew what to do.
Here we go. We've got the episode title. It's Quality Control Part Deuce.
All right, number 2, Pitt. They won a game.
Are we sure?
I think we're pretty confident. 3, Clemson. Makes sense. 4, SMU. Those Mustangs are looking pretty good. And number 5, Louisville, coming off a tough loss against SMU, oddly enough. Bottom 3, Wake Forest. Now, that's a team I know has moved up a spot in the power rankings because most of us had them dead last week, at least 1 spot. Wake Forest coming off a nice win against NC State, or the 15th best team in our power ranking. Number 16, we have Stanford. Tough loss. Not a tough loss. They just lost to Virginia Tech. It
was tough to their fan base. All like 12 of them that showed up.
Yeah, boy, you went on. I mean, we need a Stanford UVA noon kickoff game. I can't wait for that one. Number 17, Florida State. My goodness gracious, boy, the Rock is so ashamed of you all. He's not even coming out to tell you that you all absolutely suck. But you do.
But we will.
Yeah. So,
great job, Jared.
Yeah, smooth.
All right, that's enough about ancient history, enough of Jared's complaining about Andrew's absence. Let's move on to some real football coming up. This is well, I'm not going to lie to you. It's not the most exciting week of ACC football on paper.
That's why
But
Andrew skipped this week.
if you're going to miss a week, this might be a good one. But what we found is that weeks like this that look like they're not going to be so exciting, sometimes they bring some real drama and action. And so we're going to trust that it will. We're going to start out down in Raleigh, where the Orange, we talked about how exciting this offense with Kyle McCord is. Orange really outpacing expectations in Fran Brown's first year. They're traveling down to NC State to take on a Dave Dorn squad that seems to be going in the opposite direction. They have gotten thumped a couple times this year, looked lethargic in a loss to Wake Forest last weekend. The Orange come in here as 3.5-point favorites on the road. And it looks like all three of us are giving the points and taking Syracuse. What are you expecting to see in this one, fellas?
I mean, I don't. I think what I'm looking to see is we Kyle McCord. We talked about it a little bit before the show that he's got a little Brett Favre in him. He's going to make some head scratching plays, but he's going to make really air it out. And I contend that the shocker to me on this NC State team has been the ineptitude of the defense. I mean that has been the real ballast, the consistent factor for this NC State team. It feels like for several years is they would keep that defense would keep teams in games. The offense went up and down and wasn't necessarily always firing on all cylinders. That defense kept them going. But I mean, you look at what they've done this season. I mean, giving up big points. I mean, a Wake Forest team giving up, what was it, 34 points last week in a loss, a game they shouldn't have lost to begin with, but giving up 34 points in the process. And I, I just, I mean, I can be shocked. This is a Syracuse team. It's hard to peel. It feels like a little bit of fool's gold still, even though they look good right now. But it's hard to feel like the Syracuse team doesn't just go down there and really light it up against the way that defense has been playing so far this season.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how Syracuse is only favored 3 and a hook, and I'm guessing it's because they have to go down to Raleigh for the game. Um, Last I checked, the weather's supposed to be pretty nice, I think, down there in North Carolina. I don't think it's going to be an issue with the Dome team coming down there, like having to deal with like heat or even like wind or rain or anything like that. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I think we've figured out that Syracuse is probably the better overall team than NC State. I know the Wolfpack had high expectations, but they have just really not done well. They lost to a bad Wake team last week, which really questions what the hell is going on down there in Raleigh with under Dorn right now. And I'm sure he's starting to feel the hot seat, even though he is the winningest coach of all time for the Wolfpack. But I just don't see how the Wolfpack game. I don't see what the motivation is for the Wolfpack to continue playing this year, and I think that's what's going to be the downfall for the team.
Isn't it kind of comforting though to have Dave Dorn back on the hot seat where he lived for like 6 straight seasons?
In a way.
Feels like old times in the ACC. Well, I agree with you guys. I think Syracuse at this point in the season, you really have to admit that Syracuse is the stronger team, and that hurts me because I'm thinking back to our season preview episode where Jared called this, and there is nothing in this world that I hate more than having to admit when Jared was right. But this is one of the rare occasions where it happened. Congratulations, buddy.
Yeah.
All right, let's head next to Charlottesville. Again, another team in Virginia that has outpaced expectations this season, sitting at 4-1 on the year, including 2-0 in ACC play for the first time in many years. They're playing host to the Louisville Cardinals. It's a Louisville team that has looked good on the season, but has dropped a couple of close games, 2 7-point losses the last couple of weeks to Notre Dame and SMU. No shame in that, but they're also looking to right the ship in this one. They come in as 8-point favorites into Charlottesville. I'm having a hard time figuring out my pick, so I need you guys to convince me. Uh, who do I need to take here? And why is it the Wahoos?
Uh, that I killed the dead air. Um,
Well, I was just yielding to you, Jared. I mean, I started off like I figured that's the way we were going to go. Is I was going to yield to you to open up on this game. So
I mean,
really it's your fault if you think about it.
yeah, I mean, of course it is. And I guess, it comes to a trust factor. I don't know if I just trust UVA yet. If they win this game, I think we really have to take a step back and reevaluate what the heck is going on down in Charlottesville and their three fans that attended last week's game. But if they beat Louisville, I think that's going to change the fan perception quite a bit, which is good for them. I think Louisville is the better team overall. They still are. Again, two tough losses, as you mentioned, Notre Dame and SMU. It was close losses too, by the way. And I just think those talent levels of those two teams that they lost to is just much superior to what UVA is going to throw out there, and definitely more, I think, overall mature for this potential atmosphere of a game that I believe is Saturday night. I think it's the ACC game of the week on the ACC
They're
network.
playing in the afternoon.
Oh, they are in the afternoon. Is that the ACC night game? Oh,
No, like 3:30.
No, can't win them all. That would probably make a huge difference if UVA could have gotten the night game. I think the fans would have really come out for that. 3:30. I think you'll have better fan attendance than the noon kickoff, but still, I don't know. I think they're going to need all their fans to come down there and support them to even have a shot against Louisville. I think the Cardinals take care of this one with really not much issue.
So this game, and I almost went this way with this game because I'll tell you all what I think the safe pick is. I think the safe pick is Louisville on the money line because I believe that Louisville is going to win this game. I am less confident in this spread because this is a UVA offense that has had some bumps in the road, which is why I can't quite get confident in them. They didn't look good at all against Boston College, even though they put up 24 points. First half was terrible. Even the numbers on the day weren't overall overly impressive. 7 of those points came on the scoop and score from the defense. So the offense didn't do a whole lot. This Louisville defense is not anything to write home about, but they're solid. They can play good defense at times. They're kind of the upper third of the ACC, whereas this Cavalier defense, that secondary is still really getting taken advantage of, and we've seen what Tyler was it Shock, is that how you pronounce his last name? He's putting up, and it's not just like against the cupcakes of the league. Every single game he's putting up 250 yards plus, multiple touchdowns, taking care of the ball. I am very concerned that as much as I think this game might turn into a shootout, I think that it might turn into a shootout that is just too much for the Cavaliers. Though I will say, probably what the safest bet is, though it's not listed here, whatever that number is, take the over.
Yeah, you kind of put your finger on my biggest worry in this one, Geoff, which is that I think this Louisville passing attack is the real deal. And Virginia's secondary has some injuries, was not the strongest unit to begin with. And I'm worried that this is a day that the Louisville passing attack just picks them apart. I agree that I think 8 points is kind of a lot here. And so I'm inclined to take Louisville on the money line for that reason. I think Virginia either keeps it close or manages to kind of back their way into a cover by scoring late. But I can't quite see them winning this, especially in a situation where Louisville, I mean, this is pretty close to a must-win game for them. They can't afford to drop 3 in a row here. I think you're going to see them get back on the right track. But this is a game where Virginia can drop it at home and still feel like this season is a success if they can keep things together. If they can keep things rolling going forward. They really are outperforming expectations. And so I think Louisville wins a close one here, and everybody walks away feeling okay about their teams.
I mean,
yeah, and I think, David, you hit on something else. The intangibles of the game is it's a game that not that Scott Stadium is going to be confused with with the big house or anything like that on under the lights, but it's a game, it's at home. I think you kind of hit on, these are two teams going, at least on their confidence level. Louisville maybe a little bit shaken, not that they've had losses to teams they should be embarrassed about, but a little bit bit shaken, like you said, maybe a must-win game for them to get right on the ship, and then a UVA squad that after the last couple of weeks is probably building a little bit of confidence. So is that enough to swing the spread? I certainly could see that.
Is there any reason why you're not taking Virginia in the spread, at least, like Virginia +8?
Well, because I feel more confident that Louisville's going to win the game than I do that Virginia's going to cover.
Okay, so you can also see Virginia getting their tail kicked.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to clarify.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because you get better
Let
odds.
me be clear. I think Louisville's going to win. That's unfortunately where I land. All right. Well, that brings us to what I guess is kind of by default or by process of elimination the game of the week, and that is the Cal Bears traveling east to take on Pitt. This is a Pitt team that we've talked about has looked really, really good. They are 5-0. They're off to this really hot start. Really, really looking good. Taking on a California team that I would argue has looked good too, but has had two difficult losses. In some ways, I would be tempted to say that the schedule makers didn't do Cal any favors, though the truth is having to travel to Florida State turns out not to have been what we thought it might have been. Nonetheless, they lost a close one there, dropped a heartbreaker to Miami with some questionable calls at the end, blew a huge lead in that fourth quarter to let it all slip away. This is pretty close to a must-win game for Cal, because if they've played this well but managed to drop their first three ACC contests, that's a rough look going into the season. Pittsburgh has looked like really a juggernaut in the ACC. It looks like all of us are giving the points, taking Pitt, favored to win by 2.5 at home. What do you expect to see in this one? What are we looking for out of Cal to get things turned around?
David, I think you teed up. Sometimes the way that you frame, it's all about how you frame the game. And this is one that I looked at the spread and I said, okay, this is Pitt 5-0, Eli Holstein, the performance he's had on the season, Cal 3-2. Yeah, they played some tough games, but not really believing in them. And I was like, okay, this should be an easy one for Pitt. Now, after you frame it up, I'm having some cold feet here, and not enough that I'm gonna change my pick here on the fly, but I think you hit on some things. I mean, this is a Cal team that has played teams tough. I mean, that meltdown against Miami in the fourth quarter, removed. I mean, that was a game in which they were up 25 points, and they, on the number, whatever it was, number 8 team at the time in the country. So, oh my, you've really got me, sweating this one now, because I thought this was an easy. Pitt has this one in the bag, and now you have really got me second guessing myself, because to your point, this is a good team, at least a competitive team that they've got going on here with Fernando Mendoza at quarterback. He's been putting up some decent numbers on the season, not quite to the level of Holstein with the Panthers, but it's an offense that can put up some points, and in a defense that I think has quietly played some of the better football in the ACC against some of the better teams, like I said, other than the fourth quarter collapse against Miami, notwithstanding. So, geez, this is a game. I think this is going to be, as opposed to the shootout that we were talking about with the Louisville game, I think this one's going to be a real grinded out game. I think this game's going to be tight, and it's probably, I think, the reason why we're talking about it now may be a sneaky best game of the week. May not even be the Louisville Virginia game, now that I think about it.
I think this game will be pretty solid. I really do. Cal needs to finish the job. Both games, both Florida State, both Miami, they failed to finish the job, especially against Miami. My goodness, Miami, you have a 25-point lead. There's no excuse for blowing that. None. Even though there were some horrific calls that went against you, you've got to find a way to close the deal. Cal will put up a fight against Pitt. Pitt needs to be ready to play and fight because they are not going to lay down. I know we all love the Cal memes. I mean, I know I enjoy them. The Cal meme game is almost borderline just an art at this point. It's just so fun to watch. And seeing how the fans are just that excited and that, energetic, it's amazing. I guess just to real quickly say, I'm glad that Cal's part of the ACC. I really am, and SMU too, and Stanford. I know there'll be better days for Stanford. I'm glad that these guys are part of our conference right now because it is making it more fun. We all were like hesitant, like I don't know, what's it going to make a difference? It's been fun. It's like a new like shot of energy into us, especially when Florida State, all due respect, bitching and moaning and trying to get out, and they stink. Well, Clemson, although they kind of want to get out, I don't think they're as aggressive about it. Back to the Cal Pitt game. Finish the job. If Cal can find a way to finish the job at Pitt, they'll win this football game. But I think at the end of the day, you have that trust issue. And Pitt has got some unbelievable playmakers right now on the offensive side. I talked about Eli at the beginning of this podcast about player of the week or for my game ball. I think he'll be the difference maker. And I think at the end, Pitt will find a way to win by 3.
Jared, I think that's really well said. The Calgorithm has been very good to the ACC this year. They were amazing hosts of game day on Saturday. I don't know if you guys watched any of that, but like super high energy, fun fan base there. SMU is killing it. Florida State is garbage. It actually this is a really great time to be an ACC fan. Who would have guessed?
Yeah.
It's such a fun year, Pitt is good again.
Why break this up?
Like this is we may be living through the golden years and didn't even know it. So really, really good stuff. There's a big part of me that's kind of cheering for Cal on this one because I want them. I think this season's going to be more fun if they can stay competitive, and I think they've certainly got a shot to knock off the Panthers here. I'm taking Pitt and giving the points, but I won't be surprised if California comes. I mean, Pittsburgh is going to drop a game at some point. This is not an undefeated team here.
No, I agree. Absolutely.
It could happen. Well, we've kind of covered the high points of the weekend, but there are some other games happening. We're going to do just a couple quick fire bets here, help the people make some money. Geoff, kick us off.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure you want to go to this one if you're looking to make money, but we were trying to find trying to hit on the other games. Weren't very many to look at this week, but I've got Notre Dame here. They're playing Stanford this week. I've got Notre Dame minus the 23 that's sitting out there. This isn't one that I feel great about, but this is a Stanford team that I really don't feel good about, especially after the last couple of weeks and the performances that they've put up on both on the offense and the defensive side of the ball. So I think this is a Notre Dame team that certainly is capable of winning by 3+ touchdowns.
Without a doubt, Jared.
Well, if you want to lose money, I say go ahead and follow me because I got North Carolina with a straight up upset against Georgia Tech. Are they playing Georgia Tech?
Yes.
We're gonna go with Georgia Tech.
Are they playing Georgia Tech? We're going with Georgia Tech. We're going
plus 154. Take those odds straight up money line.
Yep, I'm going to Winston-Salem where the Clemson Tigers are coming to town. Clemson are 20-point underdogs in this one. They're going to win by at least that. This is a very good Clemson team. I'm not quite sure what happened in that season opener against Georgia, but man, they have turned it on since then. Tigers look like a legitimate playoff contender. I think we don't have them at the top of our power rankings, but if you pin me to the wall and said who's the best team in the league, it's Clemson right now. If you pin me to the wall and said who's the worst team, I'm still not sure that it might not be Wake Forest. They did get the win last weekend. They are not going to win this one at home. Clemson minus 20, easy money, and that is it.
I mean, it's been so long since I've been pinned to the wall.
Okay, I was trying. Man. All right, so this is the Virtual Tailgate Skeletons crew signing off tonight. If you do have questions, comments, or complaints about Jared, send them to virtualtailgate@mediabullcrap.com.
And always remember these 3 rules. Never get less than 12 hours sleep.
Never play cards with a guy who has the same first name as the city.
Never get involved with a woman with a tattoo of a dagger on her body.
Stick to that, and, well, I guess everything else is cream cheese.
Or ball game.